Michigan Out of Doors Magazine's OD is brought to you by Country Smokehouse of Almont, offering the best quality and satisfaction in homemade meats, sausage, and jerky. It's a Michigan destination. Check out the website at countrysmokehousinc.com. And by Williams Gun Sight, located in Davison. Williams Gun Sight has Mid-Michigan's largest selection of used guns with over 2,000 in stock every day. Check out the website to view inventory and prices. And by the 66th Annual Ultimate Sports Show in Grand Rapids. Book the trip of a lifetime at the Outfitters Expo, shop for a new boat, or watch seminars at the Indoor Lake Ultimate, March 17th through 20th at the DeVos Place.
Well, if you saw the show last week, you remember we talked about Camo the Capitol coming up, and we actually just had that event. It turned out really well, had a lot of people there, and we're just going to show you a little bit about what happened and talk about some of the legislation that was introduced on that day.
Resolve some of these funding cuts that could affect us very dramatically.
I want them, so it's part of why it's so exciting for us to be here.
This bill would give the DNRE the authority to utilize skilled volunteer groups opportunity to address this very important.
About 42,000 individual members and 250 affiliated clubs in the great state of Michigan.
There are other factors to consider, so that's what we're looking at in here, and we've provided there's some license sale data.
Well, the purpose of Camo the Capitol is to introduce MUCC members and really the general outdoor community to their legislators. And that's really important because they obviously need to hear from us to know what it is that we want them to do while they're in office. So the day started off with a committee hearing with Representative Rendon, who's introducing legislation that would allow volunteers to do work on, publicly owned state land, which is a very important thing because there's a lot of work to be done and there's not always enough money or staff time on the DNR side to go around. And then, throughout the day, we introduced our members to their legislators, and we had a rally on the lawn where a number of legislators were able to talk about some of the legislation that they're introducing, including, the hunting heritage bill that we've talked about in the past. Well, that's been reintroduced. That would basically eliminate the youth hunting age and create a mentored youth hunting program. We heard about legislation that would create a constitutional amendment giving us the right to hunt and fish and trap in the state constitution.
Yeah, I introduced Senate Joint Resolution H, which would basically is an attempt to amend our constitution to add that we as the people of Michigan have a right to hunt, fish, and trap in this state. And I think that's important because sometimes we take for granted that we can go out and hunt and fish freely and trap, but there are a lot of outside groups, kind of extremist groups that are kind of whittling away and trying to take away our rights to hunt and fish and trap in this state. So I think it's important that we look maybe at an opportunity to put that in our Constitution, in our Michigan Constitution, to protect the right to hunt, fish, and trap.
What that has to do is go through the House and Senate and become a ballot initiative that would be voted on by the people of the state of Michigan. And the third issue we talked about was the possible change to the opening day of the firearm deer season, which we also talked about last week on the OD episode, but this just made it more official. The bill's been introduced, and he talked a little bit more about why he was thinking that Saturday is a better day to open our gun season. Well, I've written about more than I've talked about a lot in the past. I don't like politics. I don't really like, some of the stuff that goes on there, but at the same time, I also understand how important it is for hunters and anglers to be actively involved, and we've been the silent majority for way too long. By our own nature, we don't get involved in these things. We kind of like to sit in the woods and sit on our boats and do what we love to do, but that's a little bit naive, and that's what yesterday, the Camo the Capitol event was really all about, was giving people the opportunity to speak to their legislators and kind of showing us how we do that, because it's not something we just intuitively know how to do. And that's really what the event was. I thought it turned out really well. I thought it really sent a clear message that MUCC is the group in this state that's representing hunters and anglers, and to have the type of turnout that we have, to have the number of legislators that made it a point to come and visit with our members and to visit with MUCC, I think that's a real, statement of what MECC does in this state. And obviously, we're going to continue to follow the legislation that was introduced and bring you as many updates as we can. And we're going to continue to have these Camo at the Capitol days. So when the next one rolls around, hopefully we'll see you there too.